Hi, so welcome back to another Real Auto Talk right here at Real Auto Reports. I'm Jonathan McGrew, and remember our Real Auto Talk segments, well, they're not about any specific vehicle typically, although they could be, I guess, if we wanted them to be. It's meant to just let us talk about cars, talk about autos, talk about things that bother us, talk about problems you might be experiencing with your car that we might have some advice on. And this time I wanted to talk about buying a vehicle that has neat features like heated steering wheels, heated seats, and the memory seat functions and things like that. Some of these features that, well, when you get used to different cars, you don't think about checking when you're going to buy a new or used car. There's some differences in these features that I've noticed over time that I thought might interest you, our audience. So we're talking about heated seats and steering wheels this time, and how they differ from vehicle to vehicle and what to look for so that you get the most functionality when you're looking at your next new or used car. So we're going to borrow our test vehicle here, the Lexus ES300H that we've been driving, because, well, it's always nice to use something brand new, and this is truly brand new with just over 700 miles as we have it here on its testing. And it does have a heated steering wheel. And actually, that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about, as we've talked about this in some of our other cars. The location of the heated seats in the heated steering wheel buttons. There are some cars that I have tested. Actually, it was a crossover from Mitsubishi that I tested that I drove for the whole week. Now, I looked at the Moroni sheet. You know, we always get a sheet like this that says what option package it has. It's the same one you'd find in the window when you go to the dealer. But I didn't notice, for whatever reason, that it had the heated seats on the option list. And I was doing my review, and I was going around the car, and I'd been up and down and sideways with it, and I never knew that it had heated seats. I couldn't find the heated seats until the day I was giving it back to the press fleet, and I looked down as I took off my seatbelt, and sure enough, there was the heated seat button all the way down on the right side of the seat by where you put your seatbelt on. And I just would have never thought to look there, to be honest with you. And it's kind of like the Subaru Imprezas. They have the seat switches back here by the driver. Very tiny rocker switches. Not a fan. I don't like them there. This vehicle in the Lexus ES300H has them up here on the center console. Now, from a driver that's about 6 foot, this is a bit of a reach for me. Not too much, but what is nice about it is these are actually heated and cooled seats. So first thing you want to look for in your new vehicle is, do you want air conditioned or cooled seats? Perforated leather is for that air to come up through and for them to breathe even with the heated seats, so that you get a nice transference of heat and cooling. This vehicle, if I turn the cooled seats on, will turn a fan on. One of the things you'll notice about cooled seats is that little bit of noise. And see, the noise went away because it does use an actual fan to pump the cool air up into the seat. Now, this is a 3-stage heated seat on this ES300H. Some cars have a single stage heated seat. Some cars have a multi-stage like this. This is 3 stages or 3 dots. Some have as many as 6 or 7 stages, depending on how you can dial it. You just have to look. Most will be either a 1, 2, or 3 stage heated seat. And like in our Dodge Charger, it's actually controlled up through the touch screen. Everything in that car is pretty much controlled through the touch screen. Whereas in this vehicle, you can only control the heated seat from this dial down here in the console. It's not controlled in the infotainment system. So that's something else that you'll want to look at. What that means, and this is important in terms of just technology, because this vehicle has a manual dial, and if your vehicle you're looking at has a manual switch, most times if they have an auto start feature, that means you cannot turn the heated seat on unless you leave it on cool or leave it on heat. In our Charger, it will actually variate the heated or cooled seats depending on the temperature outside of the car. And that's a pretty cool feature. In fact, it'll turn the heated seat on and the heated steering wheel because it's all controlled through the central system, the infotainment system. This vehicle, the heated steering wheel button is down here in the console, and it then has the dial for the heated seats. That's not to say that a car company couldn't program it to work with all of these more manual switches, but it is unlikely that they will in most cases. This vehicle, you actually have to have the Lexus Inform remote app to get it to start remotely, and you do it through your phone through a subscription-based app. Whereas on our Charger, it is right there on the key. So a couple things that you do want to look at when you're looking at these features. Do you want a multi-stage heated seat? Do you want it controlled up in the digital aspect of the vehicle? Where is it located? Is it easy to get to the heated steering wheel? Does it leave it the based on the temperature? These are the things you want to check out in your option lists. On the BMWs, they drive me crazy because the heated steering wheel is over here on the left side of the column by where you adjust the steering wheel. That is a crazy place to me to have it because you can't see it. I think it's intended so that you can just reach and touch it, but a lot of people don't realize an option is in the car unless they can look at it and see it. Because in the summer, you're never going to remember the heated steering wheel. Why do you need it, right? One more thing about the heated steering wheels that you should really take into account when you're looking at your new or used vehicle. In this vehicle, notice the bamboo wrapped steering wheel here with the leather as well. Our Charger has a fully leather wrapped steering wheel, and some vehicles have a partial wood wrap here with this down here all being leather. There's a lot of different ways that they can do this, but when it comes to the heated steering wheel, and this is important in a climate like here in Colorado, if the whole point of the heated steering wheel is you don't have to wear your gloves necessarily to drive and operate the controls, because the gloves kind of impede what you're doing because they add a layer in there, right? So this steering wheel is supposed to be nice and toasty. On a wood steering wheel in most cars, that means that more than half of the steering wheel, on this probably 2/3, is not heated, because the only part of this Lexus that heats is right here. Not even this section down here in the bottom heats. And I find that quite an odd experience when it's 30 degrees outside and you do this and the steering wheel is cold. And so this is frigid and this is warm. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Now, most of the heated steering wheels have a single stage, and most of them turn off after a certain amount of time. They're timered. So that's something else that is fairly normal, but you can ask about or read about in the book before you buy a car to see how it's set up. Again, this one has it up here in the center console, which is a bit of a reach. A lot of them are over here on the left, even in the Lexus brands. The BMWs are on the column, and in our Charger, it's in the center. In a lot of, basically all the Dodge and Chrysler vehicles, it's going to be up in the control panel, the big center control for all of the navigation and infotainment. So those are a couple things that you might have never thought about with heated steering wheels and heated seats that I wanted to mention. Another thing to look for in your car from a heated seat perspective is whether it has rear heated and cooled seats. Our Charger has rear heated seats that are very nice for our rear passengers because of the leather. This vehicle does not have rear heated seats, which is kind of interesting, being that it is a luxury brand and more than $8,000 more expensive than the sticker on the top of the line Charger, and that being the all-wheel drive. This vehicle does not have the rear heated seats. Many vehicles that are even more expensive than this in the luxury brands have heated and cooled rear seats now, which is pretty cool. And one of the most inexpensive cars that has rear heated seats is the Hyundai Elantra. So you might check out the Hyundai and Kia brands if you're looking for value oriented, a slightly smaller car, and still want some of those pretty cool features. And a lot of times those rear heated seats are going to be only one stage, but some are multi-stage, and you'll find in the crossovers and in the SUVs most of the time only the middle row is heated and the third row is not. So those are just some extra details. I'm Jonathan McGrew. I hope these are helpful. We like to give you some tips and tricks and, well, just our thoughts on automobiles in general, being enthusiasts. So if you have comments or you have a topic that you want us to cover, make sure you shoot us a comment here on the video or go to our Facebook channel, facebook.com/realautoreports. Make sure you like the page and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. But leave us your thoughts there and we'll pick them up and we'll try to answer your questions and your videos through the comments, but also through more Real Auto Talks. I'm Jonathan McGrew and we hope to see you down the road.